we've put up this force field around us. It's very hard for an organization to engage us. It better be very compelling and very personally targeted in order to get me to have any interest to re-engage. I'm Ben Morsum, and this is Engagement Decoded, where I share insights and tips on how to better, more effectively navigate engagement with audiences, so you can stop guessing and fight for the attention of those you want to connect with. We're asked often, what do we have to look for to determine that they are in an adverse state? Let's look at it in different settings. Let's start with a small group event or interaction. You can tell and see symptoms of your audience being in an adverse state when, for example, they're showing signs of active disengagement, meaning they actually have to go out of their way to not engage. Things like defensive crossed arm positions, where they're maybe not making eye contact with the relevant content. They're within themselves, they're in their minds, likely mind wandering, or they're engaged in other activities, for example, on their laptop. And they've brought it to a meeting and they're just plugging away doing other work that is non-relevant to the moment at hand. They might be talking or interacting with somebody else in the group, again, off topic from what is relevant. They may get up and walk out of the room for periods of time as well. There are mostly very physical signs of adversely engaged audience in small group settings. In a larger audience, there are very much similar symptoms that we would see, such as the defensive arm crossing, because there is also arm crossing where you're engaged and paying attention, but we'll see defensive positions because the body shows us those signs and those cues. Subconsciously, they're likely to be getting up and walking out of the space as well, leaving, maybe not coming back. They will also, similar to small group settings, be off-tasking on their phones, doing completely unrelated tasks at hand, talking to their colleagues, being actually counter-engaging to the rest of the audience around them as well, even if there are people sitting around adversely engaged people, because remember, there are not all one type in an audience. There can be segments. They will actually negatively affect the engagement potential of those around them due to social pressures and distractions. So an adversely engaged audience can actually become a negative influence to the greater audience. So it's important to tone your events to disarm adverse engaged audiences out of the gate, and there are methods and mechanisms to do that. Let's talk about adverse engagement in communication settings, in corporate communications or internal communications. Again, this is when people go out of their way to not engage. So I will not open an email if I'm adversely engaged, that a communication that is coming from the company, or I will not click on a certain link or engage with content. I will literally ignore or actively ignore that content. So we've put up this force field around us. It's very hard for an organization to engage us. It better be very compelling and very personally targeted in order to get me to have any interest to re-engage when I'm in an adverse state within a communication environment. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Engagement Decoded. Do you want to learn more? Hit that subscribe button below and never miss an episode to learn how to increase engagement with your audience. I'm Ben Morsum, and thank you for watching.